You, like me, must have asked yourself, hey, what's the best discipline in martial arts? What discipline is going to make me the best fighter? That's a very hard question to answer, but by looking at the history of the champions in the UFC and what their main discipline was, we can reach somewhat of a conclusion, right? If you have one discipline with a ton more champions against other professional fighters, it must be a pretty good discipline to learn. Let's get the show on the road. The newest martial art getting very popular around the world is Sambo. It's not actually new, it's just new to the world stage, as it was hidden for a while by the Soviets. The most popular Sambo practitioner, and probably the GOAT, is Fedor Emelianenko. He's incredibly successful, having gone 8 years without losing a single fight. There have only been 2 champions in the UFC whose primary martial art was Sambo, but with its growing popularity, it will soon be going up.
To the side to create some space. Oh, nice.
Oh, that's lovely.
Good scramble to
Judo is a really old martial art, and it's amazing for throwing your opponents while keeping great balance and landing in a perfect position on top of your opponent. It's not used by many fighters in MMA, but there have been 4 total champions, with the most successful being Ronda Rousey, absolutely demolishing women's MMA for a couple of years. Joe Rogan's initial martial art, taekwondo, is next on the list, with 4 UFC champions having their base knowledge in this specialty. 2 of the best representations of this martial art are Anderson Spider Silva, who is an absolute monster, and Rose Thug Namajunas. Taekwondo is great for learning amazing kicks and how to switch up your stance really quickly. It does have a major flaw where you have your hands down while you're in your stance, but the mobility from this martial art is incredible. Rare martial art in the UFC is karate, but nevertheless it has had 7 champions, including Lyoto Machida, who's had some of the craziest one-shot precision knockouts, which is what karate is all about. Also, you can't forget about Georges St. Pierre, who's a top contender for the best MMA fighter of all time. Karate teaches great punching, kicking, and throws, but many fighters complain about the lack of power in the moves. But with 7 champions, this is a great martial art to add to your arsenal. Now to what I consider to be one of the most brutal martial arts in the world, and that is Muay Thai. Its whipping kicks can give you nightmares, and the way they use every single point of their limbs to absolutely wreck their opponents, thus the famous art of 8 limbs. These practitioners also train their entire bodies, having incredible physical abilities, and you can't forget the famous videos where they kick down banana trees. This intimidating martial art has brought us 13 UFC champions, with one of the most dominating ones being Joanna Jędrzejczyk, with 5 title defenses, and Shogun Rua winning the light heavyweight championship belt.
He's got a heart of a lion, will not go down.
Holly Holm was able to use her incredible kickboxing knowledge to dismantle Ronda Rousey and hand her her first loss.
Beautiful. Beautiful. She's hurt. Is in trouble. She's hurt.
Kickboxing has created 14 UFC champions, including the style bender Israel Adesanya, who for a while seemed to be unbeatable. Kickboxing is a martial art that combines boxing, karate, taekwondo, kung fu, and others to make a dominant style in the stand-up game. This martial art teaches great strength, speed, and technique in both your hands and legs, and is great for endurance. One of the most popular combat sports in the world is boxing. With so many people watching, there's a ton of them practicing, and that's why it has created 23 UFC champions. Also, it doesn't hurt that boxing teaches you amazing foot movement and the best punching techniques in the game, as well as great defense and head movement. You must also have great endurance to be able to succeed in such a grueling sport. The best example for this discipline are former Gold Glove winners Teofimo, the guy with the most defenses in the heavyweight division.
He comes from different angles, he sets things up.
Now we get to the grappling martial arts that completely dominate MMA, and it's not even close. The top 2 are close to each other, and it's getting tighter every year. In 2018, the difference was 11 champions, but now it's only 1, with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coming in at number 2 with 36 UFC champions.
He's got an arm. Looking for the arm. He's got it.
This martial art has become one of the most important ones you can know to compete professionally. Basically, every single fighter takes classes in order to deal with its dominant ground fighting style. It promotes that the smaller, weaker person, using balance and technique, can successfully defend themselves against a bigger and stronger opponent. Like all other martial arts on this list, it needs to be matched up with another striking martial art in order for it to be the ultimate weapon, with its huge variety of locks, submissions, and techniques. If you want to think of champions, just think of the huge Brazilian invasion that happened, all starting with Royce Gracie.
There's the tap. There's the tap.
Wrestling has delivered the most UFC champions with 37 in total, including Triple C, Henry Cejudo, Double C, Daniel Cormier, and of course, the brute that is Brock Lesnar. Wrestling is one of the oldest combat sports in history, and with all those years in training, it has become extremely useful and right now, dominant in MMA. It has to be one of the best for it to have lasted for so long and still going strong. With all its takedown techniques, wrestlers can take opponents to the ground extremely easily, and with the grappling, they can keep them there. But probably most importantly, their techniques to stay on your feet help the most in MMA. If you can't be taken to the ground, you negate the second most powerful martial art in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Just pair your wrestling with a striking martial art and you will be unbeatable.
Out there. And he was able to take him down even if it was...
Well, there you have it. Wrestling is the single best discipline in all of MMA. In a world where you can use any discipline, wrestling has produced the most champions against all other disciplines. At the end of the day though, no single martial art is the best. Just go to an MMA class where you'll learn the most important parts of all the disciplines to defend yourself the best way. And thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you want to watch more great MMA videos, make sure to click on the video on the screen right now. You won't be disappointed. I'll see you next time.